Good. Good morning. It's almost afternoon. 11:30. Excuse me. There we go. There we go. All right, I need to let the Discord people know. Having to get back in the swing of things. I took the weekend off streaming. Stefan, well. Hey, Stefan, how are you, man? Hello, Ducky Dev. Yep, that's right. Yeah, I took the weekend off. There's no sense in doing anything if you don't want to, you know what I mean? Unless it's taxes or dying. So yeah, this weekend was my wife's birthday, and hung out with her on Saturday, and then Sunday I just chilled, hung out with the family, worked on my MCP server. It was good. It was a good weekend. Worked out. Network Bib, hello, Network Bib. Good to see y'all. Y'all have big plans for your week? Getting your Monday started? I know, so weird, right? Network Bib, some quality. Yeah, man. I mean, the fact of the matter is like, all of this stuff, the internet, all this stuff, this is all just like for fun. It's made up. It's ephemeral. It could go away tomorrow. Your family's forever. So you gotta prioritize the stuff that really matters. Network Bib, no, I cannot. You asked me that this weekend in Discord, and I am not going to give you mod privileges to my Discord server. Stefan, this week I plan to finally work on that chatting app. Nice, dude. Gonna use some WebSockets. Yeah? That'll be fun. I haven't done much with Go. I need to get back to doing a little bit of learning. I think I have like one more tutorial that I was gonna do on that web learn Go by example thing. Talha. Hello, Talha. How are you? How are you doing this fine Monday morning? I guess it could be later in the day. WebSockets fun. Yeah, I mean WebSockets are cool, but the one thing that isn't great about WebSockets, I mean SignalR makes this easier, and Socket.io, I don't know, maybe Go has like a Socket.io like library that helps make it a little bit easier to work with. But yeah, it seems like if you're working just with like raw WebSockets in any language, it's not a ton of fun. Like handling authentication, and then you're always passing text, right? So you gotta have to parse the text, right? If you're gonna pass JSON, then you gotta parse it, and you gotta serialize it, deserialize it. It is cool though. It does. WebSockets do make for a really cool user experience though. You know, that real-time reactivity. That's why I love Convex so much, is because I think Convex make that's okay. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say the thing I love about Convex so much is Convex makes your app feel like how you would want your app to feel, but you don't have to do a bunch of the legwork to make it work that way. Ducky Dev, not gonna lie, Steven should learn Next.js React. Yeah, so I know Next.js and I know React, so I actually have built 2 or 3 applications in Next.js. I haven't tried Next.js 15, but I have built stuff with Next.js 13 and Next.js 14, and all have been good experiences. I mean, I like writing React. I actually kind of personally have found myself gravitating more towards Vue lately, but React is a blast to write. The thing with Next.js, the thing I got frustrated with Next.js was all the caching, particularly the client-side caching. You were in this situation where like you could not, you had no control over the client-side cache, and that really frustrated me. Network Bib. Oh, Network Bib, you're crashing out. Sorry about your computer, man. Hope you get it figured out. Never heard of a PC being too cold. Nice, guys. I love that. Next.js is kind of pain. Metadata, meta freaking data. I can't even put a title. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Is like there's a lot of nice things about Next.js. There is a lot of nice things about Next.js. There's a lot of nice things about Nuxt.js too. There just becomes this point at which the abstractions, as soon as you want to sort of do something not quite in the box, so to speak, then it becomes kind of a painful experience to try to break free of those abstractions. But that's not like a deal breaker. My big deal breaker on so I was using Next.js for a lot of stuff, primarily because of the server-side rendering support. So I started building websites that were server-side rendered, and then learned how to do client-side stuff in frameworks. You know, but I had started with just building multi-page applications that would be rendered on the server side, and maybe you load some JavaScript up on the client, for like some islands of interactivity, as they say. But the reason why I really moved away from Next.js was just I did not care for the constant weight of having to think about, is this JavaScript running on the client or is this JavaScript running on the server? And then having the weight of thinking about, okay, which component do I want to make client side, which component do I not want to. There was just this mental load to that I just was like, you know what, I'm just gonna stick with pure client side rendering, and obviously that has its pain points too. But to me, it's much easier to develop with this clear separation where I have an API on the back end that returns me some JSON, and I have a client on the front end that paints that data on the screen. And for 99% of the projects I build, that is more than enough. So yeah, that's where I'm at with Next.js at the moment. I need to try Next.js 15 because, as I understand, they tried to fix some of the caching related things. So I should give that a go. It still doesn't solve my biggest pain point, right, about the whole like server versus JavaScript, which I can see if you're someone who is purely in the JavaScript world and you're purely building UIs, I can see how you would really love a framework like Next.js. Ducky Dev, I'm working on my own web framework, which I think might be cool. Okay, yeah, man, let us know, dude. Nothing like another web framework. I'm sure we're all very eager to learn another one. Stefan, push day tomorrow, can't wait. Are you not lifting today, Stefan? Ishan Gaming, hi. Hello, Ishan Gaming. Do I need to put it into slow mode? Jesus Christ, man. I mean, I'm glad you're here, but Jesus. I'll be working out today. Let's see. Today should be push actually for me, because yesterday was pull, so today should be push. I already got my cardio in. I rode for 45 minutes this morning on the bike. I went for a 10-minute walk right before I started streaming. So, trying to increase my activity level a bit. No, today we're legs, done that already. Oh man, leg day. You know, I'm almost to this place where like I feel like I wouldn't dread leg day if I just spread the volume out through other days of the week. So I'm half considering going back to like a 3 or 4 day total body, or maybe like a 1 day total body. No, maybe go to something like total body, and then upper lower split, something like that might be interesting. Your cardio is working on the farm. Nice, I like it. That's very country of you, Stefan. After a leg day, I can say it was not really yeah, that doesn't sound. Yeah, if you do leg day and then you have to go to do manual labor, that probably was awful. Network Bib, what did you say about Discord? I didn't hear it because my computer froze. Network Bib, I said no. I'm just not comfortable giving up any sorts of privileges or giving out privileges to strangers on the internet over my Discord server. It's not no shade at you. It's just my own personal comfort level. Cool dude. How's life, Steven? Life is good, cool dude. I like your username. I like your profile picture too. Life's good, man. I'm healthy. My wife's healthy. My kids are healthy. My kid woke up with a little bit of a runny nose, but for the most part, everyone's healthy, so we're good. Stefan, it's cool, dude. He's so cool, and so dude. I like that. I like that username. That username sends me like, it signals to me like maybe good, chill vibes. You know, which is what we're trying to get after here. Hey Steven, you should use Duckbot once it's fully done. Also, don't worry, it's a verified bot and will have a dashboard. It might handle things and can monitor chat for you. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know if I'll use a Duckybot, but maybe I can get some inspiration from you to write my own Discord bot. Stefan. Tyler Durden. Are you tech bro? Hold on, Tyler Durden. Isn't that Fight Club? Yeah, that's Fight Club. Nice reference, man. I wouldn't call myself a tech bro. I do like technology, and I am a bro, but I wouldn't really consider myself a tech bro. I would more class myself as a gym bro if I had to be a type of bro. It would definitely be more of a gym bro. Cool, dude. Am into placements. Gotta get into some startups. What kind of startups are you thinking about, cool dude? And what do you mean by placements? I'm not familiar with that. I tell you what, I'm caffeinated. I had already had a energy drink and shot of espresso. We are caffeinated today. Network bid. My download speed is 8 kilobytes. What to do? Oh wow, that's your download speed, Network bib. No wonder you always have issues with my stream's resolution, man. That's awful. Ducky Dev Fight Club? Nah, Hat Club. that would be kind of an interesting movie. Like a new take on Fight Club, but it's a bunch of people who like to hack. Tyler Durden, how to open SaaS AI company without knowing about anything about coding. Well, it sounds like you're gonna be one of them vibe coders, Tyler Durden, which there's nothing wrong with. I mean, you could definitely do it. Well, I guess what you should do is the first thing you should do is you should probably get like a GitHub Copilot or a Cursor subscription, and start hacking away on an idea. And then you'll probably want to do a little bit of reading. You'll probably want it to be a web app of some kind, I would imagine. Then you'll probably want to do a little bit of reading, Tyler Durden, about how you deploy things. Probably use like a managed service to get started with, right? So that you don't have to deal with the whole server management yourself. So use something like Vercel or render.com or something like that. And then you have to figure out the whole business part of it. Have to figure out how to take payments. But yeah, it'd be a lot of research. I mean, that's all business is. I mean, when anybody starts a new business, anybody who starts a new business, 9 times out of 10, they don't know anything about what they're doing, and they just kind of figure it out as they go. And that's what an entrepreneur kind of is. This is a problem solver. So you just have to be able to put one foot in front of the other. When I opened my gym, I'll give you a couple stories. When I opened my gym, let's see, I was 23. I was 23 at the time, and I had never opened a brick and mortar business before. And so I had to do all these things. I had to go to the city, had to get a business license, had to have an inspector come and inspect we had to find a building to rent, obviously. And then I had to have the inspector come and inspect the building. And there was all these laws, there was all these zoning things I had to do. I had to get like exit signs with certain types of emergency lighting. We had to redo the way our one of the doors opened in the facility so that it would be like a valid emergency exit. I mean, you just kind of, if you knew what it would take for you to build a business or to start a business, you would like 9 times out of 10 not do it. So it takes a little bit of ignorance and arrogance to start a business. So I would tell you just jump in, Tyler Durden. Can I hire an agency or company to build it? Oh, sure you could, Tyler. You could sure do that, man. Aditya. Hey, sir, how are you? I'm doing well. Aditya, how are you? Cool, dude. Uni, final, final semester. We got companies visiting. I'm into mobile application companies. Okay, nice. Very cool, man. Well, I don't know anything about mobile development. So, I wish you all the best, though. I'm rooting for you, man. Ducky Dev, man, when I first hear vibe coder, I thought it was a coder who was vibing to music and such and coding. Well, maybe we can reclaim the term, Ducky. Maybe we can take it from the AI bros. We can reclaim the vibe coder for ourselves. Imagine vibe coding but using AI to make it harder. Ducky Dev, I've been coding for 4 hours. Network Bib, I think I've coded for 3 hours. Wow, you guys are on it. That's quite the flow state, man. Adia, what about like starting company on like earbuds, earphones, headphones, etc.? Like, is this work? I think you could do that, Adia. I think the space is very. I mean, the headphone and earbud space is very. It's very crowded, and there seems to just be two ways you can go in that market. You either go really, really high upstream, or you go really, 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 really high premium, right? Like air, what's Apple's product that's like $600? I forget the name of them, but you could do like Apple headphones where you sell them for like $600 a pop, or you can do like Skull Candy and sell $20 earbuds, right? It seems like you can go one of either way. I feel like the biggest key there is brand building, right? I mean, obviously your hardware needs to be good, or decently good, but part of it too is just building a brand that people want to fuck with. You know what I mean? Like, kids will wear shitty ass hardware if they think it's cool. You know, that's just the way of the world. Stefan, 1 hour coder here. Cool. Yeah, I don't know. 3 or 4 hours of coding straight's a long time to be sitting and working. Cool, dude. I've been grinding LeetCode for past 2 months. Do we ever need this after hitting a job? Cool, dude. I'm probably not like the best sample to answer that question, because I've never actually worked as a professional developer, and I've never been interviewed for a developer job. If I was, though, as somebody who went to school for biochemistry and then went and worked as a food scientist, right? I would say that a lot of the times, going from an academic setting to an industry setting, a lot of that academic stuff that you learn is probably helpful to some extent in terms of informing like your mental model and how you think about solving problems. But I doubt, cool dude, that like you're ever actually going to have to reverse a linked list probably at your job, depending on what kind of job you're applying for, obviously. But like I'm thinking like a web developer. It's probably unlikely as a web developer you're going to have to worry about a lot of those LeetCode things. But I would obviously encourage you maybe to go ask a better person than me. There might be people in the chat that have thoughts about that too. Well, that's good, Ducky Dev. I'm glad you're grinding, man. I'm glad it's going well. Tyler, and what about maintenance and bug fixing after I sell that some company? That would be their problem, Tyler. That would be their problem. And I'm guessing that would be part of the due diligence. I've never sold a company, but I'm guessing that would be part of the due diligence. Is they would bring some people in if your company was that successful. They'd probably bring some people in with some technical chops and have them kind of review your existing code base and your existing technology stack and kind of make a plan forward, right? So I don't think you'd have to worry about that after selling. Ducky Dev, AirPod Max. That's what I was thinking of. I think AirPod Max. Adia. I think India, most of the company don't work like best sound quality, also ANC, also other features. It's like a scam. Yeah, I think at the lower end of the headphone and earphone market or earbud market, yeah, there's definitely a big fall off in quality, right? So yeah, but if you wanted to start your own company, right, you're gonna have to kind of pick where your brand is gonna fit in the existing landscape, you know. Network bib. When you're a kid, RGB is the coolest thing to have. Yeah, I don't know. I've never fucked with RGB. It's never been my thing. Yeah, doesn't even like the keyboards. All the mechanical keyboards that have bought. I have 3 or 4 of them now, and they all have RGB lights on them. I never use them. The only thing I do is I do put the lights on when I type, so they kind of like the faster I type, the more the light lights up. I like that, but yeah, I'm not much of an RGB guy myself. I've just What are you talking about, Stefan? Ducky Dev, that's random, but interesting that they don't have drinking laws there. Cool, dude. The issue. We don't got complex DS and app development, but interviews are designed weird. Yeah, and I think, cool, dude, I think it depends largely on the company you're interviewing for, because I have heard anecdotally that some companies are moving away from those types of classic LeetCode interview problems as technical screens. But that's just anecdotally, you know. But I agree with you. I think these really complex data structure and algorithm questions, I think it's about having a good working mental model of things. But like, the sheer fact of the matter is, in 99% of the cases, you're not going to re-implement those algorithms, right? Someone's already implemented them somewhere in some library, somewhere in the stack you're working with. Maybe there's times where your problem domain demands you apply it in some way, but that hasn't been my experience. In my experience, 99% of web development is what's the word? 99% of web development is mustering and CRUD operation, right? It's managing moving data from server to client and from client to server, and exposing the ability for users to create, read, update, and delete things. I mean, that to me, that's like 99% of development. And maybe I just haven't implemented anything complex enough myself, but $10K subscriber challenge. Bose was actually an Indian from my home state. Bose speakers. Also, there was another scientist named Satyendra Bose who made Bose. I did not know any of that. 10K subscriber. I don't think I knew that the guy who founded Bose was Indian, but I do know that Bose is kind of interesting, because I think it's actually owned by MIT, right? Bose MIT ownership. Yeah, MIT owns a majority of the Bose Corporation, but it's not in a traditional sense. It's kind of a weird thing. Yeah, they're non-voting shares, but the majority of the shares were donated to Bose or to MIT, which is kind of weird. Hold on. Oh, I missed some questions here. Steven's doing a $1,000 giveaway for anyone who's liked this live. Sogo, that's such a troll. I wish I had $1,000 to give away to you guys. Yeah, I'm a 32-year-old dad of 2 in Kansas. You know, I need every dollar I can get. Aditya, sir, what language or skill required to start website or app? Aditya, if you wanted to build something, to build a website or web app, I would probably look at learning JavaScript. You know, with that single language, you could build a front and back end if you needed to. That's probably where I would start. Ducky Dev, Node.js, 100%, build both front end and back end. Oh, I think he was answering Aditya. Stefan, aka Steven, is greedy. Yeah, I just, I want to keep my money. I mean, as a as a dad, my first and foremost, as a dad and a husband, my first and foremost priority is to protect and provide for my family. So I would not I would not give away our money. Maybe one day when we get to a point where we have enough for ourselves and some left over, we can do some charitable donations. The smoothest said, "Turn down your stream volume because I'm watching another stream and I'm having a hard time hearing it." Hey, smooth test. Get fucked. Oh, what a troll. The founder of Bose was Indian. His name was Amar Bose. Amar Bose. Nice. Do you say that every time, smoothest? Yeah, that feels like one of those things somebody copy and pasted into their notes app, and they were like, man, when I get the chance, I'm going to lay this down on somebody. Sogo, I'm your hype man. Got you some extra likes. Well, I appreciate you, Sogo. Ducky Dev, I thought Steven was like 20 to 25 when I first watched his stream. Yeah, I think a lot of people have said that I kind of have a younger looking face. But I think that's probably just because it's my face on camera. I think if you saw me in real life, like I have I don't know if you can't really tell it on camera, but like I have gray hair coming in on the sides. My wife loves to make fun of that. But yeah, I'm gonna be 32. What, next Monday? On the 21st is when I turn 32. So I've been out of college for 10 years now. Been out of high school for, what is that? 18 to 32. What is that? 14 years? I already had my 10-year high school reunion. My son, my oldest son, he'll be 9, which means he's halfway to being done with kind of primary school, I mean, 18's typically when people, in the U.S., you're kind of considered an adult. So we're like halfway through raising him. Goes by fast, man. Steven has a beautiful young face. I appreciate that, Sogo. Very kind of you to say. Ducky Dev, happy birthday, dude. Yeah, we'll see. I think on the 21st, my wife's gonna take off work, and I'm gonna take off work. Her birthday was on the 12th. And so I think we're gonna play hooky on Monday, or the next Monday. Kind of run around town and just be kids again. Stefan, nah, you gotta drink at least a liter of Rakiza for your birthday. I'm guessing that's a Serbian liquor, huh? It's a fruit spirit or fruit brandy. That alcohol is 40%. Wow, dude. That's strong, huh? 40% alcohol. Huh. A fruit brandy. So it's kind of like I'm guessing it's kind of like a sweet liquor. Ducky Dev, man, last birthday I drank a lot of wine. A little too much. Nice, Ducky Dev. But I mean, it's your birthday. You're supposed to celebrate one trip around the sun, If not then, when, If not then, when? It's like vodka, but made with fruit instead of potatoes. Interesting. You ferment your fruit, huh? Interesting. So it's kind of like wine in that sense, huh? What kind of fruit is used typically to make it? Is it a smorgasbord of fruit, or is there a particular... Neo, yo, long time no see, man. Hey, what's up, Neo? How are you, man? Doing well these days? It has been a minute. So you say I can make vodka with potatoes and fruit. Yeah, it sounds like you can. Yeah, I don't know though what fruit you would use. Neo, just finished my 12th grade. Dude, congratulations, man. I guess it is that time of year, huh? April, that's kind of towards the end of the school year for most places. Most United States universities, I think, are getting towards the end of their... But that's awesome, man. I mean, I remember finishing 12th grade. Couldn't come fast enough. Basically, after football, senior year of high school, basically after football ended, that was when the school year ended for me. And then it was just basically, what can I do to make this time pass faster? Stefan, there are a lot. Most popular here are apple, walnuts, different grass types, pears. There's a lot of them. Oh, interesting. So they just kind of throw everything in there, huh? Or each one is used to make a different kind, I guess, is what you're saying. Okay. I'll do a little Googling. I can't believe that has a 40% alcohol content. Wikipedia says the most popular in Serbia is made from plum, apricot, and pear. I don't know if that's honestly true, but that's what Wikipedia says. Neo, which college did you go to and what was your major? Neo, I'm based in the United States. I don't remember, Neo, if you're in the United States as well. But I grew up in a small town in southwest Missouri here in the U.S. called Joplin, Missouri. And there is a small university there. It's a state-funded university called Missouri Southern State University. I just posted the link in the chat. That's where I went to school at. It's not Harvard. It's not Columbia or Stanford or anything. But the best part of going to school there was the fact that our professors weren't necessarily... Our professors didn't have this idea of publish or perish that you see at some larger universities. So our professors were there to really teach, and they had paid office hours, and so it was actually really easy to get in front of your professors. If you needed help, or you wanted to talk about your career, or you wanted to talk about your long-term goals with your academics, like, your professors were very much available to you and accessible in a way that I understand is actually kind of not the case at larger universities. But that was the best experience. I had a really good advisor. My professor in school was my biochemistry teacher. So yeah, it was a really good place to study. And it didn't break the bank. It wasn't $30,000 or $40,000 tuition every semester. My major, also Neil, my major was biochemistry. Was my major. It was good. It was good. I definitely don't know if I'd go back and go if I could rewind the clock. Knowing what I know now, I don't know if I would have gone to college. But college was a big deal in my family. Like, it was a really big deal for my mom. My dad didn't graduate college. My dad went to college, and he dropped out with like a semester left. And my mom went to the same university. But it was a big deal for us, for her kids. She made it a really big deal that we go to school and finish school. And so all three of us did. My brother got a degree in technical writing. My sister got a degree in Spanish, I'm pretty sure is what she ended up finishing with. And then I got a degree in biochemistry. And none of us are really using our degrees. Although my degrees have opened doors that otherwise probably would have been closed to me, or I would have had to push a lot harder to open those doors. So, Yummers, hey everyone, how are you, Yummers? Good to see you. Stefan, first time I drank is when I was 4. From then on, I don't feel the strength of alcohol. Nice. Start 'em young. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with alcohol, right? I mean, as long as you don't let it destroy your life or make you make bad decisions. Yummers. Oh yeah, I already talked that. Network Bib. I think Network Bib said he was leaving, and then I think he just retracted that. So, Neo, well, I'm from India, and I'm going to do psychology. Well, that's awesome, Neo. That actually, so when I got to the end of my undergraduate career, I originally had started biochemistry thinking I wanted to be a doctor. By the time I got to my senior year in college, I was deep into kind of the health and wellness, health and fitness space. I, had a gym, was doing personal training, and so I knew I didn't want to, and I had decided I didn't want to be a doctor. And I actually, what I wanted to do was I wanted to continue to go to school. I wanted to go study for a PhD in health psychology. There's a program at the University of Missouri here in Kansas City that's in experimental health psychology. And I actually took my GED, or not my GED. What is it? The GED is what you get if you drop out of high school. The test you take if you're going to do like a master's or a PhD, I forget what that's called. It's like a G something. GSAT? Is that what it's called? So I went and let me see, what's it called? G something. PhD exam. PhD. Let's see, what is the test you take to get into graduate school? The GRE is what I took. GRE. I went and took that and I applied, but I didn't get in, unfortunately. But yeah, that's awesome, man. You're going to study psychology. I think that's one of the most fascinating areas of science. Network Bib. I aced my German test today. I'm going to get 100%. That's awesome, man. Good for you. Network Bib, I thought you were leaving. Now you're back. Okay. Let's see. Stefan, I wanted to mess up my dad. He ended up messing me up. Nice. Yummers. Steven, your presence on YouTube had a very positive effect in my life. Very nice. Well, that's nice to hear, Yummers. That's pretty cool, man. Let's see, Neo. 3-year bachelor degree here and planning to master's in US for 2 years of that. Oh, very cool. Yeah, man. That sounds like a great plan. Sounds like a long road, but 5 years, honestly, 5 years will fly by, I look back now and I can't believe it's been 10 years since I've been out of college. I can't believe my kid's going to be 9. I mean, the year is literally just, you blink and there's another year, I will admit, it doesn't necessarily feel that way when you're in it, but one day you look up and you can't imagine how much time has gone by. Which is good. I think that's, it's a good thing to remember, Try to remind yourself when the days feel endless and the work feels never ending. It's a good thing to remind yourself that this too shall pass, that's what got me through 2 days in football. I used to just tell myself, no matter what happens today, you're going to eventually be in your bed going to sleep. Yeah, sometimes that's all you have to hold on to, man, when days are tough. Yummers, I am disoriented, by the way. Just changed my profile. Oh, okay, nice, Yummers. Very cool. Yeah, I was kind of surprised to hear that I had very much of a positive effect just because the Yummers person seemed to be relatively new to the stream. But if you're disoriented now, I get it. Yeah, you've been around for a while, man. Yeah, yes, I like that. This too shall pass. Nothing lasts. It will, man. It will. Only tough people do. It's so true. So true, Yummers. So true. Just gotta keep things in perspective and try to not let things get under your skin too much, you know? Network Bib is really committed to this whole nut thing. I don't get it myself, but for whatever reason, there's a group of people in my Discord who have decided that they're gonna embrace peanuts as their organizing way of life. Yeah, see, there you go. Nailed it on the head. I said it before Network Bib said it. Stefan, I swear I am at the weirdest age. Some of my friends got kids, some are living with parents, some are working, some are going that Stefan, and that, I mean, that perfectly describes, I think you're at like you're at like uni age, right, Stefan? You're like in your like 19, 20, something like that. It kind of defines that age of life, you know, 20, I would say like 18, maybe 20 to 30. There's just this kind of a smattering of where people are. It's very common. It is a weird place. Like me and my wife, we had our first son when I was 23 and she was 25. And so, like, you know, we were definitely some of the earliest people in our friend group coming out of high school, coming out of college to have kids. Even now with, you know, when I go to my kids' school stuff, we're by far the youngest people there. Most of all my kids' friends' parents are like 10 years older than me, which is, I think, that's more of a US thing where people are waiting longer and longer to have kids and start families and stuff. We're kind of an outlier in that sense of how young we started ours. Neo, I don't know how, but things are going pretty good. Bought my first camera, and my parents gifted me a motorcycle. Well, that sounds like you got some awesome stuff, huh? Nothing wrong with enjoying some material wealth. I'm not familiar with that camera though. I do like cameras, but I'm not familiar with the ZV-E10. Let me Google that really quick. Oh, that looks like a nice camera. Looks like a perfect vlogging camera. What are you using it, Neo? What are you going to use it for? Any ideas? Hey, Toad Sage, how are you, man? Good to see you. I will be 20 in little less than a month. Yeah, Stefan. Yeah, so you're right there, man. That's how it is. I feel like in the US, though, more and more people defer having kiddos under 30. I think most people are waiting much longer. Yeah, don't chew on your headphone wires. Now I sound like I'm talking to my kids. Both my kids play video games, and they have wired headsets, and I always find them like this, playing their games. Drives me nuts. I've bought him like two headsets at this point because my youngest son, he just like chews right through that shit every time. He's on his last headphone. I told him though the last time he did it, I said, "This is it, man. This is the last headset I'm buying you. The next one's on you." Stefan, new Switches arrived at Serbian Post yesterday. Super hype. That's awesome. Where did they come from? Did they come from far away or something? The Switches? Stefan, I mean, my mom was 36 when I was born. Okay, so yeah, it's not just a US thing. It's probably a world thing. Stefan, I definitely won't wait that long. Yeah, me and my wife were both like, we were pretty much on the same page. We wanted to do, even though we knew it would kind of be harder, you know? I mean, or theoretically, right? Theoretically, if you wait longer to have kids, theoretically, you know, you should be more stable in your career, more stable in your finances, right? If you do everything right. But my wife and I were pretty set on starting a family young. We wanted to be the young parents. You should give them. So they did. So I bought them last Christmas. Yeah, last Christmas or the Christmas before. We bought each of them these Xbox headsets. These Xbox, because they play on. That's what they used to only play on, was on Xboxes. They have PlayStations now. But I bought both of them. These really nice. They're like $100 wireless Xbox headsets. And they worked really well. The problem was the mic is shitty. Like, the mic was so omnidirectional where I could be, like, on the other side of the house, and they'd be playing video games where I am, and you could hear me crystal clear. And that wasn't going to work. So now these headphones are just, like, extra headphones that I use for random stuff. The corded ones just seem to... And it's also one less thing we have to worry about charging. That's the problem with wireless stuff. You always got to remember to charge it. Toad Sage, thoughts on the tariff by U.S. government? It's terrible. It's Toad Sage. It's just such a stupid, terrible policy. Let's see. I guess where should I start with that? Number one, the people who are gonna. There's only two things that tariffs are gonna end up happening. One, government's gonna get to increase its revenue from people paying the tariffs, right? Which at the same time is probably going to mean less prosperity generally, right? Because that money's coming from somebody, right? Some business owner or some consumer is paying those tariffs. So there's this transfer of wealth from everyday working class people in the US to the US government, right? It's effectively a tax at that point. Or the other thing that will happen is people will do shady and illegal things to avoid paying the tariffs. Or what we've had most recently, which is really shitty, is now they're exempting like a lot of products that big companies make from paying tariffs. That was the latest thing, like phones, computers, a lot of hardware, electronics are going to be exempt from the tariffs. And so big companies won't be screwed, but a lot of smaller businesses that do manufacturing, right, or they do outsourced, they source from overseas for their products, they're going to be screwed. So it's just a bad policy. I understand people who say, you know, tariffs are going to help drive manufacturing back onshore, but that's just unrealistic. We don't have the labor force, we don't have the skills. There's not enough time, right? In 4 years, Donald Trump may be out of office. So why would a company invest hundreds of millions of dollars to develop onshore manufacturing? Not to mention, if they onshore their manufacturing, they're still going to have to pay tariffs on the raw imports that they need to actually produce their products. So it's just all kinds of backwards, like just not realistic in terms of what they want to accomplish. Ducky, I'd defo not have kids. I want kids, but I don't want the hassle. Yeah, man, I get it, man. There's lots of reasons not to have kids. Lots of reasons to have kids, you know? Everybody's got to make up their own mind and their own decision about what they want to do. Code Geass Programming. You gifted $1,000. What? That's wild. Toad says, what does U.S. people thinking about? I want to know the ground reality. That's why I asked. Oh, I think it's pretty evenly divided at the moment. As with most things in the U.S., there's a lot of people who are Trump supporters that they are bought in. Like, they believe whatever Trump says. They believe this will force manufacturing to come back. They believe jobs will return. They believe everything the Trump administration is telling them. And then there's people like me who are kind of in the middle, where they're not really aligned to a political party. I'm not really aligned to a political party. Who maybe support Trump, maybe don't support Trump, but they're not in favor of tariffs just from an economic standpoint. And then you have people like people who are on the left, who are similar to the people on the right, who just think that there's like the opposite, right? They think that the Trump administration is evil, or what's the right word? I can't think of the right word to describe it, but basically has malicious intent to what they're doing from an administrative perspective. And I'm somewhere in the middle. So it's a mixed bag, Toad Sage, just like with anything. I think more people, Toad Sage, I think more people that maybe had supported Trump were not in favor of the tariffs because of the impact they had on the stock market last week and the week before. I think that got a lot of people to pick up the phone and call the Trump administration. We'll see. I mean, he obviously got some pressure. Meaning Donald Trump, meaning their administration, because they backed off those crazy blanket tariffs and then they paused them for 90 days. So I mean, there's definitely pressure, I think, being applied from different places. Stefan, anything is better than... Yeah, Stefan, from what you've told me, it sounds like you guys are going through it over there. Ducky Dev, fun fact, the military dictatorship here took lessons from fascist Japan. Interesting. I did not know that. But you're in Myanmar, aren't you, Ducky Dev? So that's... Your government's currently run by a military junta, right? Network Bib, I'm going. Bye. See you, Network Bib. Network Bib says that like 8 times a stream. Then he comes back. See, Toad Sage. But I guess it's good for us devs because this leads to layoffs. And also, as you said, is less on work power. So this might lead to some outsourcing like that. What do you think on that? I think outsourcing is always going to be a thing. Yeah, I honestly don't know the impact it's going to have from a dev perspective. I think the more disruptive thing for devs at the moment is less tariff and less economical. It has, or the state of the economy. It has more to do with AI, I think, at the moment. I think there's just such a hype, not from the technical side, but from the business side of businesses. So I'm thinking of like CFOs, CEOs, people in management. There is such a hype around AI, and I think there is such this desire and belief that they can somehow use AI to replace some of their developer or some of their more technical workforce. Whether or not that's true, I think there's just this big desire. Excuse me. There's this big desire for people that want it to be true. I think that's going to be more disruptive, probably, to tech workers. Like Tobias Lütke, the CEO of Shopify, he actually just posted a memo on Twitter, I think over the weekend, where he basically told the company that they weren't going to hire anybody. Basically, you had to prove that the job you wanted to hire for couldn't be done by AI in order to get approval to hire somebody. So I think stuff like that, I think, is far more disruptive. Ducky Dev, yo, Steven, you like Radiohead? I actually don't know much Radiohead. I've heard of Radiohead, but not heard much of their music. Yeah, I actually think a lot of all the interviews I've ever heard Toby Luque in, I've always thought he seems like a very smart and intelligent leader. But this was the memo he shared. I'm putting it in chat. This was the memo he shared on X, basically in telling the company that, like, hey, if you want to hire people, we need to first prove that we can't leverage AI in some way to do it. Which I think, if you read through the whole memo, there is some good points in there that he's making. And part of it's just largely the idea that, hey, we need to figure out how to leverage AI. We need to become good at using AI, which I don't think there's anything wrong with. But I do worry that you know, man, it's the latest hot thing, you know, that management thinks can be like the easy button, right, to solve all their problems. And I just don't think it's that. I don't think it's that. In its current state. Maybe that changes. But in its current state, I don't think it's that. I don't know if any of you guys, I don't know if anybody in my chat is also a dad. And also works in technology, but I'm just going to share this in the hopes that maybe somebody might be. There's this group that I joined. It's called Dads in Tech. It's pretty awesome. I'm just going to put this in chat too. If you are a dad in tech, check this out. Who's Hazifa? Sorry if I'm messing up your name, man. What do you think Nintendo current games price tags? Are they kind of expensive? I don't play much. We have a Switch, but I don't play it much, and we don't usually buy many games on it. I think the last game I bought was Pokemon. I think I bought Pokemon Violet was the Pokemon game I bought last on there. Yeah, Pokemon Violet. And it was like $50 or $60. I mean, I just expect to pay that for any new game on any console or any device. I kind of expect to pay full freight for it. Neo, going to shoot a short film. Oh yeah, because I asked what you're gonna do with your camera. Very cool, Neo. There's actually a short film I'd like to make around this experience I had in Philadelphia. I don't know if you'd call it a short film. I guess I just want to make a YouTube video around it. I actually had this bad experience with my drone when I went to Philadelphia a while ago. Man, it's been almost 10 years at this point. 9 years, 8 years at this point. But basically, I got my drone seized by the U.S. government, and I had to go to federal court, and it was a whole thing. But I was vlogging at that point in my life, so I have all this video, and I've always wanted to stitch it into an actual film or movie. Just never gotten around to it. $90 for Mario Kart? Woo! Yeah, that's expensive for Mario Kart. Neo, man, you missed my message 2 times in a row. It may have not gotten through a filter, Neo. Because the only message I see from you is, I see you saying going to shoot a short film. And then the last message was about your camera and your motorcycle. So I think whatever you were posting must have got caught in the filters. Stefan, give me some periodized programming tips. I'm on this training plan. It's shit. So periodization, right? There's a few different ways you can do it, right? But I guess the easiest way is probably for what you're doing, Stefan, is if you're doing some sort of, well, let's just say you're training for hypertrophy, right? I would just periodize my volume over the course of 4 or 5 weeks. So, like, just oversimplifying it, but let's say you do like 2 sets per body part 1 week. Next week, 3 sets per body part. 4 sets per body part. 5 sets per body part. So that would be you kind of undulating or increasing, periodizing up. And then a week, that next week, the 5th week, you cut it in half. You cut your volume in half. Or the same thing could apply to strength training, Stefan. So you could instead of periodizing the volume up like that, you could periodize the intensity up like that. But I think that works pretty well. And then on the 5th week, you're basically, that's your deload week. So like cut the volume in half or cut the intensity in half, just depending on what your goals are. And then you have another 5-week period. It would be worth, Stefan, as much as you lift, as much as you train, I would highly recommend checking out a program from Renaissance Periodization, RP, buying one of their templates. They're like usually like $100, which is, I know, expensive, but for as much as you lift, as much as you're into it, you would learn a lot, and you'd get a lot out of looking at programming that they write, or the templates that they write. It would help you, I think, a lot in terms of like your ability to write your own programs and think about how to train yourself. Pretty helpful. Sanskar, hey, are you a programmer? I forgot why I subscribed to you. Yeah. Yes, I do. I do make content around coding and programming. So if you like that, yeah, hang around, man. Today, this stream right now isn't centered around this. This stream is purely just to kind of chat and interact with you guys while I work. But later on today, about 2 o'clock, which is like an hour and a half, I'll take my lunch and we'll actually do some legit programming. Electronic Basics. Hello, bro. Congrats on the subs. You deserve it. Oh, I appreciate that, Electronic Basics. It's been a minute since I've seen you in the chat. Appreciate you stopping by. At Steven, could you recommend some project ideas for hands with leading stuff like MCP and all? Oh, some hands-on is what you're meaning. I think an MCP server would be great. It depends, Toad Sage, on kind of what you want to learn. You know, what thing, like I feel like another really good area to build a project around is something that has to do with queues and background work. Because I feel like that's an area that not a lot of tutorials touch on. But like if you're gonna build any type of complex application, you're probably gonna need to build some type of queue system, right? You're gonna need to be able to offload work into some sort of background process, and so you're gonna need to know how to create a queue, whether it's in memory or it's durable, and you're gonna need to know how to create a service that runs somewhere on some sort of interval or some sort of cron, basis that checks the queue and processes items in the queue. So that would be kind of a cool, I think, hands-on project. You could build like a good example use case of that would be something like an email newsletter, right? If you wanted to build your own application or system to be able to accept emails and then be able to mass send out emails, right? You're probably going to do that through some sort of queued process, right? Excuse me, I didn't mean to burp in the mic. Stefan, I watched Dr. Mike already, but I don't know. Yeah, Dr. Mike's wonderful, and I think all his content's great, and you can get really far, Stefan, on just like consuming his content. But being able to actually see one of their program, and I have them, I just in the fairness of like not redistributing something that they don't want redistributed for free, that was just, to me, and I bought a lot of people's, like I bought programs from a guy named John Romanello. I brought in programs from Alan Cosgrove, from Eric Cressy, from Tony Gentilecore, all these big guys in the fitness space. I bought programs from them half for my own benefit of just being able to work to have a training program, but also seeing how other people write programs is really helpful. Seeing kind of how just like with programming, seeing how other people build an application that you've already built is an interesting learning experience. Electronic Basics. Do you do vibe coding? I don't. Electronic Basics. I've tried, but it hasn't taken. Neo, our sports are you into? I'm into MotoGP and F1. I'm not into any kind of racing sports. I like football, baseball. I follow NBA a little bit. I like UFC. When the Olympics are on, I usually watch the Olympics. Football and baseball, though, I would say are the two that I primarily follow. Stefan, Easter in 6 days. Yeah, Easter will be here before we know it. Zane, hello. How are you, Zane? First time I think I've seen you in the chat, so hope you're doing well. Stefan, oh, so you won't give it to me? No. Yeah, I know firsthand how much work and effort goes into those programs, you know? So I feel bad just like sharing stuff for free that I know people poured a lot of heart and soul into them. Because I don't have any projects this month and already covered with my monthly goals. Yeah, man, I think, okay, I'll try to build a newsletter or site for our community. Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, like some sort of, I think a newsletter would be an interesting way to kind of learn about how do I set up a queue, right? And then how do I set up a service that runs on some sort of regular interval that feeds the queue, right? Or not feeds the queue, but processes what's in the queue. I don't know. I think that's an interesting thing that a lot of tutorials don't cover, right? And then you end up with people who are trying to do all the processing that's necessary within the life cycle of a web request, and you're like, no. Like, you're not going to be able to do everything that needs to be done in a lot of cases within a single web request. Neo, need to go, bro. See you, Neo. Let's see, I use Flutter for making apps. I have 2 years of experience in it. How should I make myself ready for the future because of AI and stuff? It sounds like you're on the right path, man. If you're already building apps and you've got 2 years of experience, you're moving in the right direction, man. My main advice was just be a learner. You know, you don't have to be ate up with AI. You know, you don't have to be an AI bro. But I would get familiar with it. Understand what foundation models are. Understand how to work with the large providers that offer the APIs. Understand how to use OpenAPI or Anthropic and Grok, right? Get familiar with those tools. Understand how you would integrate them into apps that you're building. Because I do think there is going to be a desire for developers to have those skills and to have that knowledge. So it can't hurt to have it. Doesn't mean you have to be completely sold out on the technology, but having familiarity of it goes a long way, I think. Toad Sage, probably they might not know about Go routines, or they were just typical Node programmers. Yeah, I just think it's like a common thing that, like, when people are walking you through tutorials or even Free Code Camp's curriculum doesn't touch on that, right? When you start getting into more complex backend development, people, you know, that's something you're going to do. You're going to build queues. You're going to build services to process those queues. And so I personally just felt like that was an area of self-interest that I had to pursue on my own. I did it for 1 or 2 applications, implemented some sort of process or some sort of thing that was facilitated through a queue. I mean, obviously there's no application that I built that has enough traffic that probably warrants that kind of complexity, but knowing how to do it and kind of understanding and having a mental model of it, I think would be helpful. Because I think if you actually got a job someplace, you would have to deal with that kind of stuff. And I just realized I've been live for 1 hour and 14, guys. So in the fact that I'm gonna take lunch here in 1.5 hours or so and actually stream again, I'm gonna cut this stream off. So I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. If you guys see me on later, let me know. Join in. Be happy to hang out with you guys some more. Otherwise, thanks for chatting. All right, y'all. Bye, guys.